Students, today let us discuss about central nervous system. Central nervous system comprises of the brain and the spinal cord. Both these structures, that is the brain and the spinal cord, are covered by three membranes, protective membranes. They are known as meninges. Meninges comprises of three layers and the name are dura mater, arachnoid and pia mater. Here we can see this is the skull or the cranium. It is lined by the first layer of meninges, that is the dura mater. Dura mater is the outermost, thick and toughest membrane covering the brain. Its outer surface remains adhered to the inner surface of the cranium. Here, the blue part, as you can see, is the dura mater. Next is the arachnoid membrane or matter. It is a thin transparent membrane that is loosely arranged around the brain. It bridges all irregularities of brain. It is separated from the dura mater by a space known as subdural space. The subdural space remains filled with fluid. Followed by the arachnoid membrane is the innermost membrane, that is the pia mater. It is a thin vascular membrane which closely invests the brain, dipping into various sulci. Sulci are the small groups which you can see here, dipping into various sulci and other irregularities of its surface. It is separated from arachnoid matter by subarachnoid space. The subarachnoid space remains filled with cerebrospinal fluid. The cerebrospinal fluid is a colorless fluid which is similar to that of plasma, except that it has much lower proportion of protein and cholesterol. It is produced by the membranes of the roof of the ventricles. The function of this cerebrospinal fluid is to protect the brain from shocks. Also, it maintains the buoyancy, that is, the weight of the brain is 1.4 kg, but due to the presence of CSF, it weighs 0.18 kg. Nutrients are exchanged between CSF and the blood. Also, harmful toxic matters which are produced in the brain are released to the blood via CSF, that is cerebrospinal fluid. Certain hormones are also released in central spinal fluid which are carried to the different parts of the brain. The brain is mainly possesses two types of it mainly have two regions. One part is known as white matter and another part is known as gray matter. You can see here I have shaded the part, these are the gray matter, and the one which is unshaded, this is the white matter. The white matter basically comprises of myelinated nerve fibers. It is white in color as light reflects back by myelin sheet as white. The gray matter comprises of cell bodies of neurons and nerve fiber and also it possesses unmyelinated nerve fibers. The human brain is divided into three parts: forebrain or prosencephalon, midbrain or mesencephalon, hindbrain or rhombencephalon. First, let us discuss about forebrain or prosencephalon. The forebrain or prosencephalon forms the greater part of the brain and further consists of cerebrum, cerebral lobes, and diencephalon. Cerebrum, cerebral lobes, and diencephalon. Cerebrum. The cerebrum is the largest, most complex of all parts of human brain and is divided into right cerebral hemisphere and left cerebral hemisphere. These two hemispheres are connected with each other by a bundle of myelinated nerve fiber known as corpus callosum. Here in this diagram you can see, if you remove a part of the cerebral hemisphere, here you can see this is this corpus callosum, which joins the two hemispheres, that is the right and the left hemisphere. Anteriorly, the corpus callosum folds back to form genu, and posteriorly it folds back to form the splenium, which further joins a fibrous strip called phronics. A deep fissure, that is a groove you can see in between the two hemispheres. A deep fissure called longitudinal fissure divides the two cerebral hemispheres. The brain, or each cerebral hemisphere, is divided into four lobes: the frontal lobes, the parietal lobe, temporal lobe, and occipital lobe. The frontal lobe and the parietal lobe are separated by a fissure called the central sulcus. The frontal lobe and the temporal lobe are separated by the lateral sulcus. The parietal lobe and the occipital lobe is separated by the parieto-occipital sulcus. The outer surface of cerebrum comprises of gray matter. As you can see here, the outer surface comprises of gray matter. I have already discussed that gray matter comprises of basically cell bodies and non-myelinated nerve fibers. The upward folds of brain are called gyri. These folds you can see, these are known as gyri. Whereas the grooves, as you can see, the depressions or grooves which are formed, they are known as sulci and fissures. Below the gray matter lies the white matter. The white matter, as we have already discussed, that comprises of myelinated nerve fibers. The frontal lobe is responsible for creative ideas. The temporal lobe are responsible for interpretation of sounds. Parietal lobe are responsible for feelings such as touch, hot, cold, pain, etc. It also helps in reading directions or book or clock or dressing yourself. Occipital lobe helps eyes to see and interpret what is seen. Diencephalon. It comprises of epithalamus, thalamus, hypothalamus. Epithalamus is thin and is not formed of nervous tissue. Its anterior part is vascular, which folds back to form the anterior choroid plexus. The anterior choroid plexus possesses a small stalk called pineal stalk, which bear the pineal gland. The thalamus lies superior to the midbrain and is composed of gray matter. Just below the thalamus lie the hypothalamus, which consists of gray matter called hypothalamic nuclei and remain scattered in the white matter. The hypothalamus gives off a stalk called infundibulum, which bear the pituitary gland. Hypothalamus integrates and controls the visceral activities, maintain homeostasis, signal the body to eat, drink, get angry, keep cool, etc. It also maintains our body temperature, influences respiration, heartbeat, controls growth, and sexual behavior. Thank you.